Hello, and welcome to Renew Mind Revolution with your host, Michelle Cook Hall. Listen, it is always my honor and my pleasure to be able to come and share with you some tips and tools that I know will help you to become a better you. This podcast is all about clicking that reset button and starting all over again. Doesn't matter how many times you made those mistakes. Doesn't matter how many times you completely need to do a makeover or redo over and over again. You have that right. You have that power. You have that authority. And you have that strength and that courage. And I've come to remind you of that today, that you have the ability to click that reset button and start all over again. Today, we're going to talk about complacency. We're going to talk about the curse of complacency, because if you find yourself in an unhealthy place, then you know that you need to go ahead and click that reset button. So let's get started today. Are you ready? I am. Let's go. Renew Mind Revolution with your host, Michelle Cook Hall. Hi, everybody. This is Michelle Cook Hall, Renewed Mind Revolution podcast. Today, we're going to talk about complacency. We're talking about an unhealthy place of complacency, a place where you know that you are not supposed to be, you shouldn't be, and it's not healthy or productive for you. Sometimes we stick to things that are the norm for us, but they're not good for us. They're not healthy for us. They're not productive for us. And that's not where we want to be. We want to make sure that we're always being progressive towards the better and not for the worst. So today we're going to talk about briefly about complacency. Remember that all of my teachings come from my books, and the books that we're going to deal with mostly is Faith versus Fear or Breaking Family Ties. Today we're dealing with the book Breaking Family Ties. So we're talking about complacency is a curse, okay? And complacency is a feeling of being satisfied with how things are and not wanting to try to make them better, okay? So we know that's not where we want to be. We know that we are always striving not to be perfect, because we're not perfect, but we're always striving to be better. And this is for our own personal benefit and for those who are around us. So we're not just trying to become a better person for somebody else, but we're becoming better people for ourselves, because you owe yourself that. I owe myself that. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be healthy. We deserve to be strong. We deserve to be emotionally healthy as well as mentally healthy and physically healthy. So we are always striving towards being better. So if you find yourself in a place of complacency, okay, that's not contentment. We're talking about complacency. Then it's a feeling of being satisfied with how things are and not wanting. So you're not desiring things to get better. So that's a difference. We want to make sure that we're understanding that we're talking about complacency and not contentment. Okay, because being contented is a good thing. We can definitely be contented in a good place, understanding that even if I don't necessarily get everything that I have asked for, if I have everything that I need, then I could be contented. Come on, I could be contented. But complacency is different. Complacency sometimes comes from a place of us just being familiar with something. Even if it's unhealthy for us, it's the norm for us. Therefore, we can find ourselves in a place of complacency. Okay? Complacency is definitely a curse, okay? This is my perspective. This is my perspective. Hear me today. Complacency can be a curse because it can go throughout different generations. I've seen people be complacent in dysfunction from generation to generation to generation, okay? I have seen people, whereas, for example, say if Uncle Joe or Uncle Bob or Ruby has been suffering from being an alcoholic, okay? And then you have heard your whole life that, well, it's not their fault because, grandma or papa, he was alcoholic and their parent was alcoholic. So if you start drinking and you start suffering, they're going to tell you, well, it's not your fault because auntie, grandmother, great grandparents, we all have this in our family. So it's not your fault, it's not your issue, as if you have no control, as if you have no decision, as if this is something that's come upon you. And so then what happens is, I have seen generations of people be contented. I mean, complacent, not contented, but complacent in this type of behavior. Okay, so we want to make sure that when we're looking at generational curses, such as even poverty definitely is under the umbrella of a generational curse. It can be generational curses. And this is just, once again, you have seen people sometimes become complacent even in that. Now, do they want it? Should they want it? Most of the times, absolutely not. But you have seen people, because the person before them has experienced this. This is something that they have adopted to themselves. They have accepted it, and then therefore they have become complacent, and they have not tried to get better from that. They have that's the key there. They have not attempted to leave the dysfunction. They have not attempted to break the curse. They have not attempted to make sure that the buck stops with them and doesn't go any further. Like, I'm gonna make sure that this doesn't happen to me or my children or their children. I'm gonna stop it here. So when you don't have that mindset, then you become complacent with dysfunction. And so we're talking about that today. We want to make sure that we first understand the difference between contentment and complacency. Complacency, once again, is lack of desire to do better, lack of desire to be better. Have you ever heard someone say, this is just who I am, and this is how I will always be? Come on. Have you ever heard people say, well, I'm at an age where now, I just don't see myself changing. This is all I've ever known. This is all I have ever been. This is all that I've ever been exposed to. And this is all that you're going to get from me. They don't see themselves getting better. They don't see things changing for them because they have found a place of what? Complacency. They don't want to or try to. Sometimes it's not just a want, but they don't even attempt to change or strive towards better. That's the complacency that we're talking about. And this is an unhealthy place to be. This is not where we want to be. We are human beings, and our natural desire, our natural function should be progression. That's what we are. We're progressive people. And so we're progressive beings. That's what we do. That's why we have such high technology and advancements at this point, because of the fact that we are progressive people. So the need and the desire and the urgency sometimes to be better and get better is natural. It's absolutely natural for us as human beings. The desire to not be better or get better or strive for better is not natural. And so that's when we become depressed. That's when we become emotionally sick, mentally sick, because we're actually going against what is natural for us. We're actually going against it. That's when you begin to see so much dysfunction in families, because they have not attempted to become better. And this is what we're designed to do, to go from glory to glory, right? To persevere, to progress. This is what we do. And so we are designed that way, to always strive to become a better person. That's why you have it in you. Sometimes you'll have like a little alarm clock in you and tell you, hey, I don't feel right where I am right now. Something needs to change. I remember, even as a younger person, for myself, I had an alarm clock in my life where I felt like, okay, what I was learning uh, from a spiritual perspective was really good, but then there was more that I needed to know. There was more that I wanted to know. So I had a strong desire to seek out the truth, to seek out more knowledge, more understanding of what my beliefs were, the foundations of my beliefs, and I needed to dig deeper into that. So we all have an alarm clock that kind of tells us, hey, you might have been given appetizers, right? Might have been given appetizers, but there comes to a point where you say, hey, I need a meal. I need more. I need to get to the meat of this. I need to change. I need to get a better understanding. I want to become a better person. I don't want to keep dreaming about something and not be what I've dreamt of, or what I know, because what we will do is we will put a limit on ourselves. We talked about this before, or we will allow others to put a limit on us, and we want to make sure that we are not doing that, and we're not allowing other people to do that. Okay, we want to make sure that we don't allow anyone to put a limit on our progression, and make sure that we're not doing that we're not pushing our own selves down, belittling our own selves down, or dumbing our own self down for the benefit of others. We want to make sure that we're living up to our full potential. Okay, so complacency can and is a curse. Okay, due to the negative nature of many of our behaviors, complacency is an ever-present danger. When a person becomes complacent, his alertness level for the task decreases. Hear me again. When a person becomes complacent, his alertness level for the task decreases, and so does his performance. So when you're complacent, you're not even able to step up and fulfill complete a goal or a purpose. So we're always talking about purpose here. We're always talking about destinies here. And the reality of it is, if you find yourself in a place of being complacent, then it is very difficult for you to actually come up with the strength to do this, to see it, to focus on it, and to perform it, and to be effective in it when you're complacent. So this is an inside job. This is an inside job that we're talking about today. We're not talking about somebody that from the outside that can help us with this. We're talking about something in the inside for us. This is a choice that we make. Hear me today. It's a choice that we make to determine what we will do, how far we really want to go. That's our choice. And the limit is up to us. We make the decisions of how far we're going to go. So many dreams are crushed. So many dreams have been stopped and halted based upon things that we choose, based upon the decisions that we make, based upon the connections that we make, the people that we hook up with, the people that we entertain and give our time to, the other assignments that has nothing to do with us but we participate in, the other assignments that has nothing to do with us that we give all our energy to. All of these things play a factor in halting or stopping our progression. So we have to make sure that we are being focused. We have to make sure that every now and then we're doing this checklist and making sure that we are giving our time to things that is necessary and needed for us to complete our assignments that are given to us, our purpose and our goals and our destiny as well. Okay, so we can't exhaust ourselves doing everything else and we don't focus on what we need to do, because once you have given out to everything else what we need to do, we won't have any energy left for that. Okay, so we have to make sure that we're not becoming complacent and just stuck in a place, because then we will not have the alertness that we need to fulfill a task, or we won't have the energy to perform our task. Okay, in other words, our routines kill us. Proverbs 1:32 says, For the waywardness of the simple will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. So, so our routines, we're not talking about scheduling. We're not talking about, having a schedule of responsibilities and things that you need to. I'm for that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just going through the motions, being an autopilot, and not being focused. Not being focused. Sometimes we have a routine, but we're not focused. So that when something else comes that might change, we're not shifting with the change because we're used to our routine. And some of those routines can knock us off. It can damage us more than do good for us, because like I said, when something comes and it knocks us off, we're not prepared, because we're not alerted. We're not alerted because we're into our routines. So we got to make sure that once again we are focused so that we can be alerted, so that we can see the changes that come. And so when those changes come, we are shifting with those changes. And we could talk about this huge change right now that we're facing, global pandemic, right? A lot of people have no idea how to shift with such a crazy, chaotic change, right? We have to understand that, here we go, the only constant in life is change. I just shared this with somebody. The only constant in life is change. That is something that we have to understand. That is something that we're going to have to embrace. That is something we're going to have to take to ourselves and adopt it and just get it in our heads. I mean, really understand that. That would be a sticky note moment. That's the moment that you write this down so you can go back and look at this, because this is something that you definitely want to remember. The only constant in life is change. Okay? And I know I have shared before that, earlier in my life, this was a concept that I struggle with. So I'm able to, effectively share this with you because I know what that struggle can be like for those who have issues with changes. And so I'm so glad that it's something that I dealt with earlier in life, because there were so many chaotic changes that came into my life that if I had not learned it earlier, it could have broke me. So we have to make sure that we're understanding that things will change. That's the constant. That's because, once again, we're looking for progression. We're looking for things moving forward. Things will have to move forward. And the thing about that is, you might not want to move forward and you might stay there, but guess what? Nothing's staying there with you. Nothing is staying there with you. Nothing is being complacent but you. Okay, the world will continue. The world will continue to move on. Those around you will continue to move on. Your job will continue to move on. Everybody will grow up. Your children will grow up and they're going to move on. And everything will continue to move on as you're just sitting there and being what? Complacent. And then you look around and you haven't done anything that you wanted to do. You haven't fulfilled any of your goals. You haven't fulfilled any of your promises to yourself because you have been complacent. This is really good stuff today. So I want to make sure that you hear that you might make up in your little mind, because we can be really stubborn when we want to. You can make up in your mind, I'm not changing. This is just who I am, and I don't care what goes on. But guess what? The world will continue to change. The world will continue to move on, whether or not you participate or not. Okay, I've had conversations with individuals, especially about the changes that we're seeing right now in our world, and they just are very stubborn about certain changes. I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to, I don't like this, and I don't like how we're doing things right now. I don't like the fact that I have to, wear a mask out. I don't like the fact that, certain restaurants are closed, and you have to order ahead of time, or you have to do. They hate it, and they're adamant about how they're not going to participate. But guess what? You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. Like, it's going to happen whether you participate or not. It's going to happen around you, because you don't own the companies that are making these decisions. That's in the best interest of their company, or their restaurant, or their store. So you're either gonna participate or you cannot use or facilitate that particular store, restaurant, or whatever business. So we can say to ourselves how we're not going to participate, even when it comes to technology, basic things. I've had people who say, you know, I refuse to text. I hate texting. I'm a person to person. You know, I hate emails. I hate talking, you know, through emails. I'd rather pick up the phone. But there are some companies who all they can do is emails. All they will do is emails. They expect you, in order for you to perform your job, is to check emails, respond to emails, and do what you're told to do. So guess what? They're not going to stop it because you're stubborn and saying, I'm not going to participate. I like it the way it is because I'm complacent. You know, they're not going to stop their progression based upon your personal view or your personal attitude. Okay, so the world will, my point is, the world will continue to move on. Those that you love and care about, they're going to continue to move on. And you're going to find yourself in a place that you never wanted to be, never thought you would be, because you're missing time. You're missing so much time because you've just been complacent. You're just sitting there. You haven't tried, right? The whole key to this is that you have not tried to become better. You have not tried to move forward. You have not tried to be progressive. That's the key that we're talking about when it comes to complacency. It's the absence of the attempt to try, right? The absence of the effort to get better. So if you have done that, you're going to miss time. But what's wonderful is that even if that's what you've done for like 20 years, and you're hearing this today, you can still start over. You can still click the reset button. That's what's awesome. And that's what this podcast has always been about, reminding people that you have the power to click that reset button. Even if you've been complacent, even if you have said, yes, I'm falling into this category that she's talking about, and I see that I haven't done any of the things that I'm supposed to do. Oh my God, what can I do right now? We can start now. You can start right now. Now that you're listening, now that you become aware of it, now you have the responsibility to yourself and those around you to become the better you, to get better and to become progressive and to change. It's up to you. It's a personal choice. It's a personal journey. Every one of us have our own journey. One of the first books that I have ever written is entitled, This Journey is a Process. And it came to me because I realized that each one of us have our own journey. But what we sometimes forget is that there is so much in that journey that happens. But in that journey, what's going on is a process. And the process is always to get you to be where you need to be. Come on. It's not to destroy you. It's not to kill you. It's not to take you before your time. It's not to break you down. It's not to, just terrorize you and make life awful for you. It's for you to strive to become a better you. And how we do that is our perspective. How we look at the things, even the awful, ugly, terrible things that have happened in your life, happen around your life, or happen to people around you that eventually affects you. It's about how we kind of look, the angles that we take on that. That helps us to either stand still and become complacent, or it helps to push us to the place that we need to be. And that's what it's all about. It's all about just being kind of like a good glide, a good stride towards where you need to be. And it is absolutely an awesome thing once you kind of understand that, you're not here, placed here, or even wake up this morning for your life to, go straight down the hill and just be destroyed. Because a lot of people feel as if, everything is just, going wrong. Everything is not happening the way that I thought it was going to happen. And I find myself in this awful place, and I never thought that I would be here. I never thought that I would experience the things that I am experiencing. And so people are really, really struggling with that. Really, really struggling with that. And so the awesome thing is to understand is that, even during all of that, even during all those moments that were meant to take you out, the moments that were meant to just make you become handicapped from life, you can take those moments and you can turn them around and you can use it to drive you to where you need to be. You can definitely do that. And so this podcast today is really trying to make sure that you are in a place, even where we are right now as a world, that even in the place that you are right now, that you're still striving, that you're still making progress. Even though, things are completely different and things may always be different, it does not mean that life is over for you. It does not mean that, everything that I've ever planned for, everything that I had, in the books, now I have to rearrange and change that. And what happens? What did I say? The only thing that is constant in life is change. So we have to learn to what I call the new norm. I call it the new norm. I just shared this with someone a couple of weeks ago. Understanding, they had like a little breakdown moment, and they were very devastated and very upset about everything that's going on right now. And I had to remind them about the new norm. Okay. And so we all have to adopt this and understand this, that, it happens. It happens. And there's nothing that we can do to undo what's been done. But what we can do is make sure that we are striving and we're constantly going, and we are taking the necessary steps and precautions for ourselves and for the ones that we love around us to make sure that we are being healthy and we are protecting ourselves, and we are being emotionally healthy, physically healthy, as well as mentally healthy during this particular time. That we're making progress. We're making progress. We're making good decisions. We are striving. We're not becoming complacent. This is a perfect time for people to fall into the place of becoming complacent in an unhealthy way, because what they have known is now been snatched. Their regular scheduling has been snatched, has been changed. And once again, everybody's not good with change. But this is the moment, and when we step up and we take authority over our lives and make sure that we are functioning the best way that we can to become a better us. Listen, today I just wanted to check in with you guys and share with you a little bit about complacency and the danger of being complacent. In regards to whatever's going on around you today, in regards to whatever's going on around me today, we are going to make a decision. We're going to be purposefully about this. Like, this is intentional, right? We're doing this on purpose. We're making a decision today that despite whatever's going on around us, we are going to make sure that we do not become complacent. We're going to make sure that we are being progressive, that we're moving forward, and we're doing the things that we are called to do. We're doing the things that we know that if we're called to it, we're equipped for it, and then therefore we can handle it. We're not going to allow anything to break our stride. Nothing is going to stop us. Nothing's going to block us. Nothing's going to hold us, okay? Because we can handle it. This new norm, we can handle it. We're not going to fall into a trap of just stopping and letting go and falling back. We're more energized than we've ever been before. Okay, we have more strength than we've ever had before. So we're gonna get up and we're gonna make the moves that we need to make. We're gonna make those calls that we need to make, and we're gonna make those decisions that we need to make. And listen, I'm so glad to be able to come on with you guys today. I want you to have an awesome and outstanding day. This has been Michelle Cookall with Renewed Mind Podcast. Please rise up. Do not become complacent. God bless.